Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me once again. Right now, even as I speak, there's multitudes of people in hell. We didn't just appear out of nowhere. So if you believe God truly in your heart, you're on your way to hell. I hope you're listening to me. And when I'm street preaching outside the cemetery, I point to the cemetery and let people know that's where you're going. Your home is going to be in hell. And then you're going to be thrown into hell. No rest, nothing but fire and brimstone forever. And if you don't believe what I say, I can prove it to you. Here's that statistic. There are people that are murdered, car accidents, plane crashes, terrorist bomb. It's priceless. Don't ask me how many people are in hell. I don't know. And that's the way it is. When I did security work at CBS headquarters, West 57th Street, some of my friends that I was working with, security professionals, said, James, maybe one day you're going to have your own show. They were right. Now, people, when I worked at CBS, right in the front, people like Dan Rather, people like that, they walked right by me. I would say, hello, Mr. Rather. And he wouldn't even acknowledge me. He wouldn't even look at me. Never once did he say, hello. He was, he was very standoffish and all that. Now, here's a person, Rooney, that was on 60 Minutes. Andy Rooney. When I had my lunch break, I had lunch with Andy Rooney. And I told him, hey, Mr. Rooney, I'm a writer at that time. And I'm running a book about my travels. And Andy Rooney of 60 Minutes said this to me. He said, published? I said, no, not yet. Well, how come? I said, I haven't finished my book yet. Andy Rooney of 60 Minutes fame, CBS, he passed a few years ago. He was very humble. He treated me with respect and dignity. Yeah. Also, I met people like Connie Chung. She would walk around with her nose up in the air. Yeah. I'm not kidding you. And you know where I did security work? One of the places was NBC, in Burbank, California, that big area out there where all the studios and all of that. And one time, wearing my security uniform back then, also in the 90s, the Tonight Show host, I'm trying to think, trying to remember his name. I can't think of it right now. Who was the Tonight Show host? I'm just having I know who he is, a famous comedian, took over for Johnny Carson. Anyway, I can't think of his name right now. And can't think of his name right now, but it's okay. Anyway, I talked to him. I know his name. I can't think of his name. And it'll come to me. But I talked to him. and can't think of his name. No, it's so good. Um, and he was the Tonight Show host before Jimmy Fallon. Um, and I'm looking it up right now. Um, and Jay Leno, I don't know, I had some kind of mind block. But anyway, when I was doing security there, I said, "Hello, Mr. Leno." I shook his hand. And you know what happened? Honest to God. My uh, boss at that time, uh, because I was working security, so I had a boss. He said, "You should not have shook Jay Leno's hand. You can't work here anymore." They let me go for shaking Jay Leno's hand. Oh, he's famous. Oh, he's better than you. That's the way they were acting. He didn't act. Jay Leno didn't act that way. No, he treated me well. And so there's my story about NBC. Um, and then in 2010, um, America's Got Talent, season number 5, they seen me playing my harmonica on my YouTube broadcast, and they invited me on America's Got Talent, season number 5 on NBC. They said, "We're interested in you. We want to invite you on the show." And so I went to the Los Angeles Convention Center to perform in front of judges. And also in one area of the Los Angeles Convention Center, there was a huge room, like an auditorium. And there were about 3,000, at least 3,000 people inside of that auditorium in the Los Angeles Convention Center. And there were 3 cameras interviewing me. I was able to talk about my network, GNN, Gregory News Network, about my background and all that, 3 cameras. And some people around me, and it was packed with a lot of people, said, "This guy's going to be a star." Now, I performed in front of the judges, preliminary judges. But before all that, I lived in New York. Before I went there, again, Los Angeles, and I was at a Starbucks coffee in New York City, and in comes Howie Mandel with his entourage. Honest to God, and I looked at him and I said, "You're Howie Mandel, actor, comedian, been around a long time." And he said this back to me: "You're James Gregory Jr., GNN Gregory News Network." And I looked at him and I said, "My God, you know about my show?" He said, "I sure do." Something like that, he said. And he's one of the reasons he's one of the judges on America's Got Talent. That's how I got on America's Got Talent, because of him. Howie Mandel is Jewish. Also, one time, right after I got married in '94, I was an extra in a movie in Los Angeles, The Scout, starring Albert Brooks and Brandon Fraser. It was a comedy, and Brandon Fraser was this incredible baseball talent playing in South America. They said he was going to be the next Babe Ruth. in the movie. Except he was just a little, in the movie, he was a little bit off. Crazy. They brought him to New York, in the movie. But they filmed a lot of the scenes in Los Angeles. And my scene was I walked up to this cart um, to buy a hot dog and a soft drink. And so for about a second and a half, uh, I was in that movie. They paid me $60 almost. One of the parts of that movie, Brandon Fraser went up to the top of the old Yankee Stadium in New York. I've been to Yankee Stadium one time before the new Yankee Stadium. And in one of the scenes in that movie, The Scout, he went up to the top of the stadium and he was ready to jump off the top. So George Steinbrenner in the movie flew his helicopter up there and picked him up and landed him when the center, for the World Series. It was so funny. I mean, people were laughing. It was so funny. It was so funny. Now, and also before I go, the first time that I was on television in Los Angeles, and at that time I was doing security work also. I did security work at the O.J. Simpson criminal trial on the 5th floor where all the media was. And on KTLA, Channel 5, they filmed me in my security uniform during the O.J. the trial of the century. And so, I did security work at the O.J. Simpson trial. I met a lot of the people. I met the Simpson family, a lot of the broadcasters because I was on the 5th floor. And that was in 95, I believe. And then I started thinking, hey, maybe I can have a show. And then I get on the air with my own show in 99. And to this day, I'm one of the few people that believe that O.J. Simpson was innocent. He was framed because they were just jealous of him, of his fame, his money, and all that. And to this day, now I could be wrong, but I think he was framed. That's my opinion. Okay. Well, listen, my name is James William Gregory Jr. Peace out.